Bisu is going to be able to outproduce him with that extra expansion over there. And these vultures are going to go down again. More probes being produced and sent across. So at this point, I think Hwasin's main advantage is to do a timing push, but it's a little bit too late as Zealot's speed upgrade is probably being upgraded. And at that point, it's going to be up to Bisu's micro. And we all know that Bisu has a really, really good micro. So at this point, lots of mines just being laid all around the map. You see, it's just pretty much pure Dragoons over here. There's no Zealots, not a single Zealot in sight. And the tanks are coming up here. 4 vultures coming in from the back. Very nice here by Hwasin. He's been able to take out those probes, even with that cannon there. But Dragoons come in from the back, and we see here that Hwasin is actually retreating over here, caught without his tank sieged. And there are Zealots now. I don't know where those came from. They probably just popped out of nowhere. And Reaver has been unloaded, and it does take out a tank. And it's actually really, really good micro there by Bisu. At this point, Hwasin does have his tank sieged, so it's going to be a little bit harder for Bisu. However, Bisu is losing a lot of units to these mines, and the siege tanks just own those Dragoons because they're too clumped together. But at that point, really nice there by Bisu. He was able to take out a lot of those units when they weren't sieged, and it caught Hwasin a little bit off guard. He thought he was going to siege first, and then he was going to be able to slowly push in. But he was trying to get to his push as fast as possible. Hwasin did a good job by running in his vultures from the back, but it wasn't enough as there's cannons and a couple of Dragoons over there. More vultures coming in from the back. You see here that Bisu really isn't able to take the most out of that, advantage out of that expansion, but it doesn't really matter because Hwasin is using resources to try and quell that expansion's resources and the resource gatherers. You see here that more vultures trying to come in from this way, and Hwasin just at this point trying to kill as many probes as possible, trying to catch Bisu off guard. Bisu doing a good job making sure that that's not happening. And you can also see that Hwasin did get his expansion up, and he's scanning to check if there's no other expansions. Templar archives coming up at this point, and we're probably going to see a lot of High Templar over here. More vultures coming in over here. Really nice here by Hwasin, just constantly making Bisu have to send his forces back and save those probes, and constantly having to reproduce those probes, taking away from the advantage that he has of that expansion. And that the more money he uses on probes, that means the less he will be able to spend on his units, and the less income he'll get because he's losing those probes and their mining time. You see here that Hwasin creating more and more factories, and at this point Bisu is actually a little bit behind because he lost so many probes. You see here that this expansion barely defended, but it's able to reap all the benefits over there. More probes being sent here by Bisu, and these vultures trying to kill those Dragoons, but they are fended off. At this point, you see that lots of Zealots being produced, and now we see a good unit combination over there by Bisu. And I think Bisu still actually kind of containing Hwasin, making sure he has map control. I don't really know how, because he has a smaller force than Hwasin, but it looks like Hwasin is a little bit hesitant to come out. And you see here that expansion is also going up for Bisu again, and Hwasin just slowly pushing out, but it looks like he is a little bit hesitant to come out. He doesn't want to lose his forces, but this has bought Bisu some time to get those High Templars out, and those are really, really good against clumps of units such as tanks and vultures. So I think that was a little bit of a mistake there by not pushing out. This vulture is going to scan this. This vulture is going to spot this expansion, and it's not really defended at this point. Bisu coming in, he's actually going to try and flank this army. It looks like he has set up the flank. These tanks are unsieged, but actually these Dragoons may be going up there. I don't know what these Dragoons are doing. Looks like they were going to go up to that expansion and try and do some damage over there. And if Bisu can pull off a few good storms, the entire army for Hwasin will be pretty much destroyed. This nexus is complete, so those probes are being main-arted over there. And here comes Bisu, not with a very good flank, but he is catching most of the tanks off guard again. And here comes the Templar from the back, and the Zealots rushing in, killing those tanks. What? 2 storms go off, very well placed over there. And actually, that was a good flank. I didn't see those units from the top. But Hwasin losing tons of units over here. He just didn't. He wasn't properly set up again. And really nice scouting over there by Bisu. And he is going to be able to destroy all these units. You can see he has some upgrades as well, and Hwasin does not, which is also something that's helping him a lot. And Hwasin looks like he's going to lose his entire army over here. Does not have any support over here, and those 2 good storms over there that we saw earlier were really useful in killing a lot of those tanks. But at this point, Bisu is going to regroup his forces a little bit, wait for a little bit more forces to come in, but it looks like he's really ahead at this point. You see that he is going to come over to this expansion over here, and he does have an Archon, and Archon's own mines, but these Dragoons are going to be able to own those mines anyways. You see here that that expansion will not be able to get protected because there's no units, and Hwasin can't really push out because he only has a couple of tanks and vultures, and this expansion and all the units over there are going to be destroyed. He does have a lot of vultures actually, but it's not going to do much. These SCVs are probably going to go down by then, and you see here that Bisu just taking advantage of his contain and killing a lot, making a lot of probes, and he really has the macro advantage at this point. You see here that the SCVs have to be pulled, and actually Bisu not microing this very well, allowing his Dragoons to be surrounded by these SCVs, and he is going to lose all his SCVs, but there is a lot of Zealots coming in from the back, and they are going to own everything since there's only tanks left, and you see there's 2 Dragoons left, but I'm not sure what happened to those Zealots. It looks on the mini-map that they left, but this is a really good example of how Bisu is containing. But I don't know what happened to Bisu's army. There's a lot of vultures coming out, not so many tanks. So this is a little bit of a risky combination over here. There's Bisu's army, and it looks like he's going to get another expansion and also flank this as well. These vultures have to retreat, but they are going to do as much damage as they can before they have to retreat. And I think at this point, Bisu is going to be able to get up some higher tech units. And here you see the Stargate and the Arbiter Tribunal. And once those Arbiters come out, it's going to be very hard for Hwasin to defeat that. Especially adding on to the fact that he has very few turrets and very few Goliaths. He doesn't have a single Goliath. I don't even know if he has his armory up yet. And this expansion, once again, undefended. And I don't even know if Hwasin has many scans. I don't even know if that expansion had a scan, but this expansion is going to go down. These units rushing in, these vultures going back to save, but they are going to do a counterattack, it seems, actually. But it's just not enough. This command center about to go down, and those SCVs trying to retreat, but they are going to get mostly destroyed. Lots of Dragoons over here fending off those vultures that were planning to do some damage over there. More mines being laid, but they're not really going to do anything since there's observers. And this small army here for Hwasin is going to get pretty much owned by this small army here by Bisu as well. And you see, even with small units, such armies can be very useful because Bisu had a very nice flank over there and was able to do a lot of damage to that push that Hwasin is doing, and able to delay it a little bit. And here comes the reinforcements for Bisu, and Bisu is going to be able to fend off this attack quite easily since there's a really low amount of units over here. And Bisu, I think his other expansion is already up and running, and at this point Dark Templars are even out, and a couple of vultures running up over here, but they're not really going to do any damage anyways because there's no units over there. And at this point these Arbiters should be coming out fairly shortly, and once those are out, it's going to be very easy for Hwasin to have to GG, because he is gonna lose most of his units, because those Arbiters are gonna be very useful, as I said earlier. So at this point, Bisu just making sure he's playing it safe. He doesn't want to push in too early. If he pushes in too early, sometimes he could fail, and sometimes he could give the game back to Hwasin in essence. Even though Hwasin only has 1 expansion that has minerals left, Hwasin could come back if the entire army for Hwasin was destroyed. But these Arbiters are out now, and Hwasin has a very low likelihood of winning at this point. especially with those Arbiters out, and especially with the fact that Bisu has so many more expansions than he does. And here comes the Arbiters. These mines are spawning those Arbiters, and it is GG! That was a very nice game over there, and Bisu played very well over there. He kind of did a really nice macro build, and he contained Hwasin with a smaller amount of units, and that's one of those things that is really useful. And that is GG. It is 1-1, and the next person who wins the next match is going to get a seed to the next MSL, and they are also going to be in the round of 8. So good luck to whoever wins.